Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who will teach you where I learned this truth from. Peace, mercy, and blessings to the hopeful elect that believe in this truth and sincerity. It's your brother Yahweh Khan coming through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. From the GMS Cleveland branch of Lord willing, this be edifying, the Son, quickened through His spirit. I just meditating on being in the spirit, especially with seeing the times that we are in and the times we are approaching. Let's open up the book of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. See that then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Okay? But circumspect is a compound word. Circum meaning around, and spec meaning to look, We're supposed to be looking around, considering all aspects, spiritually, physically, mentally, considering what things may be hindering us from growing, what things may be warring against the spirit, and even more so when on a day-to-day basis, taking heed to who we are around, the things we are doing, trying to carry ourselves as men of the Lord, men of Yahweh Shah, of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, to the best of our ability. That's a part of being circumspect as well, because the scriptures say, walk with wisdom to them that are without. In fact, let me find out real quick. I'm going to come back to that. Hold on, Salaki, bear with me. Colossians chapter 5, verse 5. Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. And those that are without is speaking of everybody outside of the truth. Okay, you find yourself around people that's not in the know, okay, not of the household of faith. That doesn't mean you carry yourself in like manner. That doesn't mean to be acting as a nigga, okay? We're supposed to be making supposed to be example of the believers, as Apostle Paul told Timothy. It says, walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time, okay? Because it takes one slip up, we're supposed to be making the best of every opportunity. But matter of fact, let me get that real quick, since I quoted it. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and purity, okay? Now I want to see if that word conversation is anastrophe. Yep, anastrophe, which is a manner of life, conduct, behavior, deportment, okay? We may be around those who don't carry themselves like, the household of faith, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't. It says, be thou example of the believers in word and conversation, okay? The way we act, in charity, in spirits, in faith, and purity, okay? Not just in the presence of brothers, but in their absence as well, okay? Because we never know, in the near future, Lord willing, things get bad. You might not even be around brothers, might be around one brother. But point being, you could be around those who not in the know. And that's will be even more important in that time, to carry yourself as if you know, okay? Speaking of as if we know Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, because we do. That's what this knowledge, wisdom, understanding does. Okay, it gives us that intimacy with the Lord. But nonetheless, let's go back to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 again. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. But as wise, you see, as wise, not as fools, because you could find yourself around fools. That don't mean we should be walking as fools as well. Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Okay. It says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Okay, and what is the will of the Lord? For us to preach this word in sincerity and truth, and to live this word. Okay, because you could be preaching and not living it. And next thing you know, you being a castaway. Apostle Paul spoke about that, which I'll go there. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse right to the point, verse 25. And every man that strive for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain the corruptible crown, but we in incorruptible, okay? And that word temperate goes back to, let's just look it up.
Strong's G 1467. Ekratuamai. Ekratuamai.
In it says to be self-controlled, okay? Continent, to exhibit self-government, conduct oneself temperately, okay? It says in a figure drawn from athletes who, in preparing themselves for the games, abstain from unwholesome food, wine, and sexual indulgence, okay? Which we shouldn't overindulge in any of those things, okay? Because that goes back to self-control, okay? To exercise self-restraint in diet and chastity, which diet, if I'm not mistaken, the etymology, let's check that out real quick, goes back to way of life as well. Oh, Salakia. Diet, okay. Go back to the Greek, the Latin prescribed way of life, okay. So ultimately, if you being temperate in all things, you're not overindulgent in anything, you're doing everything. Really, we should, as the brothers like to say, the folly should be way less than how much we give it to the spirit, so to speak, because it's a balance, it's a balance. You got to feed the flesh, but not, it's really little to none, but nonetheless, 1 Corinthians 9, so like it. And 25, every man that strives for the mastery is temperate in all things. And why? Reading on, now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. Okay, and that those that do it to obtain a corruptible crown, speaking of people of the world, okay, like boxers, so to speak. They practice discipline, because ultimately self-control goes back to discipline. Okay, and discipline is synonymous with self-control. Okay, you got boxers, MMA fighters, basketball players, football players, so on and so forth. They go through heavy training, heavy discipline. Okay, they might go months or weeks without drinking. Might go weeks without dealing with their women, because what, they've been going through that training. They've been devoting their time and energy to trying to achieve that mastery, which is that corruptible crown. We, in our training, we discipline ourselves, or we should be disciplining ourselves, in order to what? Obtain an incorruptible crown, which is that crown of life that Yahweh will give us if we hold fast what we have. Okay? Because being intemperate, not having self-control, could cause you to lose that crown. Verse 26, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Okay, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. Okay, not letting the spirit drive back seat in the flesh in the driver's seat. You want to be led of the spirit. Okay, it says, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Because you could be on camera, making it seem like you're a man of the Lord, and then off camera, you being the whole nigga, okay? You make it seem like you're a man of the Lord when you're around brothers, but not around brothers, you being a whole nigga. And we don't want that, because we could be cast away. And those that's cast away, not going to be delivered, But jumping back to Ephesians, chapter 5, I think is one. Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 17, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is, which is to serve him in spirit and in truth, because now is the hour, as it tells you in John the 4th chapter, around the 23rd verse. Okay, those that worship the Heavenly Father must worship him in spirit and in truth, okay, not in the flesh, not in deceit, but in spirit and in truth. But reading on, Ephesians 5 and 18, be not drunk with wine wherein is excess. Okay, wine speaking of the philosophies of this world. Okay, being in that's that Bacchus spirit, which is trying to always be partying. Okay, trying to always deal with women. That's a part of the ways of this world. That YOLO spirit. Okay. It says, but be filled with the spirit. Okay. Because anything out of the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Chakodash is a demon, is of Shaitan, is adverse to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. You know, which I'm gonna close out with this. This was just something quick through the spirit. You know, the closer we get to Yahweh Shai returning, the more disciplined we should be. We call ourselves disciples, right? Well, a disciple must have discipline. Okay. First Peter chapter 2, close out with this. Verse 11, dearly beloved, the beloved is speaking of the house of Dawada, which Dawada is Hebrew for David, which means beloved. Okay, the hopeful elect household of faith. That's who these epistles is meant to edify and exhort. It says, dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims. Okay, we must remember we are strangers and pilgrims. So we shouldn't begin attached to the things of the flesh. We should be investing in the spirit, not in the flesh, because we pilgrims in the flesh. I mean, pilgrims to the flesh as well. Okay, because the flesh and blood is not going to inherit the kingdom, as Apostle Paul said. But it says, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust. You're not going to abstain from something if you can't control yourself, because the flesh could overpower your discipline, which is why we constantly pray to the Lord to strengthen us. Okay, so that we have the strength to be disciplined, to control the flesh, to bring it under subjection, so that we don't be cast away. But it says, abstain from fleshly lust, which war against the soul. Okay, another word for soul is spirit. Okay, but that's pretty much it. You know, gotta be temperate in all things. You know, have discipline. Which, Lord willing, this was edifying. Closing, I'm going to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, who rule well, teach where I learned this truth from. Peace, mercy, and blessings to the hopeful elect that believe in this truth and sincerity. You know, to next time I say, Kam Yasha Allah, Mawat, Lababah, Shalom.